This is Andy Porral for Boxing Social in association with Bitfred. I'm joined by Francis Warren. Francis, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Obviously, it's always good to hear you doing well yourself. Here ahead of Saturday night, Sonny Edwards going into the ring once again. You mentioned that he feels that he's probably one of the most active title fighters in the country. Do you feel that yourself?
Well, I don't feel it. It's proofs in the records. He's very, very busy young man, and rightly so, because he's got something about him, Sonny. He just wants to keep doing this and keeps doing this and keep doing this. And I think he might be one of those guys that ends up with a 40-odd or 50-odd fight record. It's not like he's banging our door down on the Monday or the Tuesday afterwards. But I think with Sonny, you just know that if you offer him a fight and you offer him something meaningful and that's going to advance his career, then he'll do it, and then he'll take it. Dropping down to flyweights, I think, is a fantastic move for him, especially at a young age of 23. It just shows that he can. It's a good idea to do it now, because if he does any more growing, say over the next 2 or 3 years, and he can't get down, then he might look back and regret having not done it. So if he can win a world title at flyweight, then make the jump back up.
That decision to drop down to flyweight, was that a team decision, or was that Sonny who first and foremost thought maybe I should drop down?
Actually, I remember I went to, what show was it? He was there watching. I think it was at one of the Brentwood shows. It probably last December. And I was just having a chat with him. He wasn't fighting. I was just having a chat with him. He said, "Francis, I'm quite happily going to drop down to flyweight. Just say the word." I think there had to be a reason to do it, and getting the WBO and the IBF international titles and intercontinental titles to get him straight away in those rankings, makes it worthwhile. Had it just been 10 rounds at flyweight, I think that's probably a different conversation, because you're not going to give up your rankings at Superfly if there's nothing to replace it. You're not going to drop out of them altogether. But Sonny's his own man, and it's a very much a team effort. No one tells anybody what's what. You say, right, what about this fight, this date, this opponent, and this one ticks all the boxes. And he deserves to be headlining because of that, because he's grafts and grafts and grafts, and he's just a consummate professional. Very much deserves to be up in lights.
Well, we'll come on to this fight now. Hugo-Guarneros, talk to me about who he is. Francis, what do you know about him, and why did you pick him out for Sonny?
He's a tough Mexican, and that's what you need. He just needs to keep learning on the job. And these are the type of opponents that he will be coming up against as and when he gets to that world level. Similar styles. There's flashes of this guy that maybe weren't in previous opponents. So I just want to make sure that Sonny's picking shots at the right time against the right opponents to make sure he's in good stead to win world titles and defend them.
How far off do you think he is from a world title fight?
Depends if what opportunities come up. We could get him a world title fight next week if you want, but it's not about just getting the world title fights. It's about, like I said, winning them, defending them, and making sure that he's showcasing the best of his abilities, and making sure that he's honing his craft to make sure that he has the best preparation possible for a long, successful career, not just a flash in the pan, quick. Right, won a world title. Oh, I can sit on my laurels now. That's not Sonny Edwards. Sonny Edwards is a guy who wants to have leave a legacy of I think two weight world champion.
Brad Foster, Lucian Reid, the co-main event. Your thoughts on putting them both together now?
Well, I think the rest of the card, especially that Foster and Reid, it just proves the point that Queensberry, are fully invested in investing and putting on the best young fighters and in the country, and making sure that they are matched competitively. Brad could have. Most people would have waited for Lucian Reid until a mandatory. Didn't want to do it. Lucian probably could have had a couple of, ranking top fights to get himself into a mandatory position. Picked up a few quid along the way. Didn't want to do it. They wanted this fight, both of them, now, and that's the testament to both of their characters.
Shakan Peters versus Dex Bellman. Shakan defeating Dex Bellman in the Ultimate Boxer series previously. But how much of a difference do you think it's going to be having that 10-round bout and for the English title?
Well, it's like, 100 metres against 1,500 metres, isn't it? I think you've got to say fair play to Deck for doing it, because he's got a title and he has got that loss against Shakan. But I don't think the 3-round fight can be. It's not saying it's not a factor, because it's still a format that they both prepared for. So over the 3 rounds, Shakan was better on the night. However, this is 10 rounds, and this is championship fight. So I think they would have prepared very differently. They'll probably be very, very different fighters come fight night. And I think they're both fully aware that is the case. I don't think they're going too heavy on previous.
And finally, on this card, Zach Chelli versus Cody Davis. Zach Chelli's decision to move up. What was your thoughts behind that?
He's just grown into it. He's 21, and I think he's getting his man strength through, and just felt that super middle was going to be detrimental to his performance. So he decided to make the move up to light heavy, and we'll see if it was the right move or not, because we know Cody can flip between the two. It's a very interesting matchup. I mean, I think it's very much a 50-50. Potentially could be fight of the night for me.
And to move away from this card, you're back now. We saw Anthony Yarde's unsuccessful bout against Sergey Kovalev. Time to reflect. What was your thoughts on it?
I thought that I was very disappointed for Anthony. I thought just a little bit more in every round could have been different. However, it was just experience on the night. It was key. I thought that he did himself very, very proud, and he was that close, wasn't he? He was that close. I think me, my dad, and George were in the front row, and apart from the corner, were the only 3 people standing up and cheering in that 8th round. It was only actually at the end of the 8th round I looked around and it dawned on me. I thought, shut up, better be quiet actually. But he was very, very close, but he just unloaded the tank and he went for hell. He went hell for leather. Excuse the pun. It just didn't quite work out. But he'll be back. That's not the end of Anthony Yarde's story by any stretch of the imagination. It's just part of his journey, and I think that, as I said, it will put him in very, very good stead, having had that experience at world level away from home in a very hostile Russian arena. And I think they just got to get back to it and keep doing what they're doing.
Tunde Ajayi, his manager and trainer, came in for some criticisms over social media. I know you'd have seen it. What was your thoughts on all of that, Francis?
You've just heard what I thought about the fight, so my thoughts on seeing criticism compared to what I've just said, you can obviously work out where I thought they did themselves proud. It was experience, was it just came down to experience. I don't think it necessarily came down to boxing ability or who's the better fighter. I think it just came down to the fact that Anthony unloaded his tank too quickly and went hell, and didn't do enough throughout the fight leading up to that. He didn't chip away at Kovalev as maybe had he had a bit more experience, he might have chipped away at him a bit more.
And finally, before I do let you shoot off, I interviewed Kid Galahad on Monday and he said that IBF have granted another final eliminator for a chance to manoeuvre himself into position to fight for Josh Warrington's world title. What are your thoughts if that was to be the case and it may happen again?
Really? Really? Well, listen, he's a good fighter. Just hope he has a fight against the Eliminator. Not cuddling competition this time.
Francis, thanks for speaking to myself on Boxing Social.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.